And we are good to get started.
So hi everyone. We are here to present on personal management, time management, and organization from the Institute of Leadership and Action. Next. So, introductions. Hi everyone. My name is Kayla Daly. I am a senior. I have joined the 2021 cohort. I am a criminal justice and sociology, double major with a minor in criminal justice and youth development.
Hi everyone, I'm Kendall. I'm a second year bio major with a minor in psychology. I'm really excited to be here with you guys.
I guess that means it's me. I'm Lex. I am a junior biology major with a chemistry and Spanish minor. I'm also in the 2021 cohort. I'm also really excited to give this presentation because I feel like at least all of us also really benefit from making it. So.
My name is George. I'm a sophomore. I'm a double major in business and econ. Obviously, it's my 2021 cohort, but everybody.
My name is Emily Ann, and I'm majoring in sociology, and I'm on Latino studies, and I'm part of the cohort. It's good to see everybody here.
So our objectives today are personal management, time management, organization,
And if we could, so the microphone to pick up sound for online is right over there. So if we could just be nice and loud. It's my old ears, but I'm having trouble hearing with the fan behind my head.
that white
Yeah, just shout, shout at the balls in the middle of the room.
thing? Okay. Personal management, that'll be me and Emily Ann. So the first question we want just to ask you to think about, or if you want to answer out loud, you can. What are you managing? What are your responsibilities? What is your schedule like, and how much work are you doing? What are you balancing? Because sometimes working can be, or just life in general can be a little overwhelming. You want to make sure when you are managing yourself that you can have that balance and know what you can take on, what your limits, and know your boundaries. So just keep that in mind. So, personal management is managing yourself. So you are your own person. You know what you can take on and what you can't. So you have to know how to manage your time, your health, and your environment. So I picked this quote because I felt like it went well with how you manage your everyday life and personal time. Everyone has 24 hours every day. It is determined by how you use your own. So 24 hours is something that every single person has, and 24 hours is not a long time, especially since you spend hopefully at least 8 hours of it sleeping. So what you do with the rest of those hours is, are you working? Are you taking care of yourself? How are you spending your time? Are you being productive? Are you giving yourself a self-care day? Or are you just living life having fun? So work and life balance. So that's why I keep hinting on your personal life and your work life. Know how to separate personal and business life. Don't bring your personal life to work, and don't bring your work life to your personal life, because when it gets mixed, it can be a little overwhelming sometimes. Prioritize your tasks. You don't have to take everything on all the time at the same time. Whatever, and when I say prioritizing tasks, I also mean prioritizing what is most important in your personal life, what you want to hit on first in your personal life, and then what you want to hit on in your work life as well. If you can delegate tasks to other people, do that. Or if you deem something more important than the other, make sure you do that task that day, and you can always table the task for another day. Don't overwhelm yourself with too much work. And schedule time for yourself, because self-care, we're going to talk about a little more later on in the slide, but self-care is very important. And to make sure you're able to handle your work, you have to make sure yourself is okay. And then spend time with family and friends, because that's a part of self-care. And that's a part of like what makes you happy. So balancing that work life is very important. Yeah. So thank you to Mr. Italia. He introduced me to this reading called The 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader. And also, although it talks about being a leader, there was a section where it talks about self-discipline. And I thought it worked well with how you manage yourself. So self-discipline, develop and follow your priorities. Once you set your priorities, follow through with them. Make a disciplined lifestyle your goal. When you have goals, you set goals, and you follow them, you have that disciplined lifestyle, so it's easier to manage things. Challenge your excuses. Don't say, oh, I'm too tired, I'll do it tomorrow. Or say, well, I don't know, this may be a little hard, so I may give it to somebody else. I have it twice, which was once. Reward yourself once the job is done. Don't be like, yes, you can have like little miniature goals and reward yourself every time, but plan to execute the entire goal, and then that feeling once you're done, you reach that goal, is very rewarding itself. But you can also reward yourself with ice cream today. That's taking care of yourself. And then stay focused on your results. So once the task is done, remember how you felt. Remember how you felt, but then how you did it. Remember the process it took to get to that point. And then take that and apply it to your next goal, your next priority. But I do encourage you to read this book. It's actually pretty good. I did my little academic reading. And then my last part is find your routine and what works for you. Then use that to determine you're making the progress that you want. So your routine is set for you. It may not work for everybody. And if it works, you keep it and you just develop it and you enhance it and use it to continue achieving your goals and your progress. If it's not working for you, you know how to switch it up. And you know what works for you and what does not.
Okay, so your environment. I think it's something that's really important, especially since you're all adults, we're all in college, we all have friends, clubs, groups, different types of environment, your home environment, your school environment, your social environment. All of these things can impact your overall well-being. If you're surrounding yourself with people that are negative, if you're in an environment that's cluttered, that's toxic to you, it will affect the way that you perceive yourself and the way that you also perceive things. That's why it's very important to make sure that the environment that you are in is conducive to what your goals are and what you want to see yourself to be in the future. So here's like a little study quote that I found. It says, according to a study conducted by the Princeton Neuroscience Institute, having multiple visual stimuli present within the range of one's view will result in those stimuli competing for one neural representation. Essentially what this quote is saying is that your physical environment, say your room, if it's a mess, if there's papers everywhere, if there's markers everywhere, if there's clothes all over the floor, and that's where you do your studying, that's where you do your learning, your brain physically cannot process what you are learning because of the clutter in your room. It's trying to focus on multiple things at different times, and it's hard for your brain to focus. So it's actually scientifically proven that a clean space, a peaceful environment, an environment that is conducive to learning will, it is better for you in the long run in terms of reaching your goals, being successful, studying. So this is definitely something that I need to also work on as well, but I feel like sometimes it can be difficult for all of us, especially college students. We are doing so many things at once, so maybe even waking up and making your bed, it can be difficult, but I think we have to just take those little things, whether it's making your bed, whether it's making sure that your desk is clear, whether it's making sure that, I don't know, your environment is a nice, wholesome environment. I think it's worth it because in the long run, it will affect you. Prioritizing mental health. I also think that in our society today, it's very fast-paced. It's all about working, making money, sleeping, eating, repeat. So I think because we are in this environment that kind of leans on that, it can be difficult at times to take the time out for mental health and for your well-being, because I feel like sometimes there's a negative connotation for taking time out for yourself, and there shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, if you were to get fired or lose your job, you're replaceable. Which sounds terrible, but it's true. But your well-being and your mental health, that's something that sticks with you forever. So I think we should definitely prioritize that. And that doesn't necessarily mean, take 2 weeks off on a vacation. If you can, great, but not everybody can do that. It's the little things, whether it's just taking a 5-minute breather or scheduling out your day and saying, at this time, I'm just gonna walk around the park and then I'll come back and get my work done. It's the little things that are going to make your overall mental health much better. The power of stress, everybody has stress. Stress is essentially inevitable. It's everywhere. But I also think at times we kind of overuse that word because stress can also be very detrimental to your well-being if it's not handled carefully. I remember I'm in this class now, and it's called Poverty in Urban Communities, and it kind of relates to this in a way. There's a study called an ACE study, and basically it means adverse childhood trauma, and essentially studied how stressors when you're a child or traumatic experiences as a child can actually make you more conducive to developing physical ailments when you're older. So that's just an example of how stress and your experiences and your environment can actually impact your physical body with developing things like high blood pressure, even cancer, diabetes, obesity, eating disorders. These are all things that can come out of being overly stressed. So although we like to use stress as such a common phrase, I think we should also remember the fact that it can be something that is not good for you if it's not handled properly. So this is just to say self-care is okay. Take time out for yourself to do things that relax you and make you happy. Do not feel bad for taking time for yourself. This also means in a social setting. Social clubs or even hanging out with your friends. I know me, sometimes I just want to not even really hang out with my friends. I just want to sit down, read a book, or listen to music and just be with myself. And that is okay. You should never feel bad for wanting your space and prioritizing your space and your mental health. So it's not selfish, it's for you. And at the end of the day, you are what's most important. Not making money, not even education. It's you. Your health is what is a priority. So make sure that it is a priority to you.
All right, so our next is time management, and this is going to help everyone just kind of manage their stress, because I feel like if you're well managed, then you kind of make time for everything in your life that you want to get done.
And generally, we've added, tips and tricks on how to be able to evolve your time management skills.
Yeah, so first, does anyone feel overwhelmed with the amount of tasks they have? I know I certainly do sometimes. You go back down, sir. But I feel like there's honestly never enough hours in a day, and I personally struggle with procrastination sometimes. So we're going to give some tips on how to avoid procrastination, because that is a giant stressor in at least college and just students' lives. Because we have so many assignments and we only have X amount of time to get everything done. So waiting until the last hour to get your week's worth of assignments is not ideal. So learning how to kind of plan out your week is very helpful. So setting small attainable goals. This can also be with classwork. So say you have a billion things to do. Just for Monday, set one thing you want to get done. Tuesday, another 2 things you want to get done. So stuff doesn't pile up.
Yeah. And the other thing with what I found myself being overwhelmed is when I see my schedule and I look at all the assignments, let's say I have to do, and really what I learned is that I should create in my mind a day that I would want to have. So if that means, sleeping till 10 and just doing 2 assignments, if that works better than just me having the mental capacity to wake up early, I have to do at least 3 assignments today, I have to be super productive. It's not good for your mental health.
I told you, technology hates me.
Where are you going?
I don't know, we just started jumping forward there. My bad.
Very good. And then another thing I want to point out on this slide is sometimes a to-do list can be a little overwhelming, so maybe a to-don't list is a little helpful. So say you're doing your homework, but you keep getting distracted by say your siblings or your pet or especially your phone. So maybe making a list of stuff you don't want to do during your designated time is really helpful. So you don't end up taking a task that should take 20 minutes and making it into a 4-hour ordeal. Because distraction is a really big thing when it comes to managing your time, because time is precious. So if you're distracting yourself, you're not gonna be able to use your time wisely. So this also comes with setting time limits. So sometimes setting a goal for your entire day is a little daunting. So maybe setting 1 hour a day that you want to do something. So setting aside an hour to do your homework is a lot easier than saying to yourself, oh, I want to get however many assignments done today, because you don't know how long each thing is going to take.
And sometimes, you might say, I'm gonna leave an hour just for this assignment today. And sometimes, you get distracted, or maybe the homework is harder than you anticipated. And you might realize after spending a whole hour on it, you say, oh, actually, I prefer to finish this. So by putting that small time gap, you're allowing yourself to, I guess, get more familiar with whatever you're doing. And in the end, since you already started, you'd like to finish it as well.
It just gives yourself like wiggle room. So just kind of evaluating how much time each thing in your life takes. Alright, so prioritization. This is another really big thing. So like I said, say you have a million things to do, don't start with the stuff that's not as important. Try to get done something that you know is going to take the most amount of time, so you give yourself the most amount of time to get it done. Prioritization is like very important. I can't stress this enough, because you don't want to do all of the stuff that doesn't actually impact anything. Well, I mean, do everything you can, but start with the stuff that's most important.
So this is another thing I like to do. I like talking about myself, if you can't tell. So this is kind of a list that I do in general with my life, including work, school, time with friends and everything. So I kind of list things. So what needs to be done, what do I have to accomplish, and by when, and then I order them. Which one is due, the soonest, and which one is most important, and then I'm able to kind of create a schedule that fits me, so I don't feel either overstressed or that I'm not doing enough.
Yeah, and then I also just want to make sure everyone knows that your prioritization is going to be different from somebody else's. So say you think doing one thing is most important, but your classmate thinks someone else's or something else is more important to them. That's perfectly fine, as long as everything gets done in a timely manner. It doesn't matter, because everybody's different. So if you want to prioritize your self-care day first, then someone else, that's completely up to you. Everybody's different, so don't be ashamed of what you do first compared to what everybody else does. All right, and then another thing I really love to do is plan ahead. So say you have like a giant 30-page long research paper. Don't wait until the very last second to just start. Try to spread stuff out a little bit, plan ahead. It's easier to have more time to do something than waiting for the last second to do it. So planning ahead will minimize stress. And then here's a quote that I think kind of sums up what some people have the mindset now, and that is, I'm definitely going to take a course on time management just as soon as I can work it into my schedule. So that's kind of going with the thing that a lot of people, I don't know, they think they don't have time to do something, but they're just not prioritizing what they want to do. So say people feel like they don't have enough time to work out. Working out only takes an hour of the day. It's not as daunting as it seems, and that goes with like every other task. So if you have a good strict, well not strict, but like well-managed schedule, you can do basically anything you want to do.
And a lot of the reasons for procrastination, I think they also come from fear that you might lose on something else. So, it's always kind of just, you're always at risk when you're doing something new and you're selecting, let's say, to work out more than an hour a day. Or let's say you want to try this new hobby or whatever else, you want to do. You have to ensure that you really want to do it and you're not just saying, yeah, I want to do this, but I can't fit it into my schedule. Because most of the time, you're probably able to fit it into your schedule.
Yeah. So-
without overstressing yourself.
Yeah, 'cause I feel like a lot of people, or at least I do this a lot, I'll get into like a black hole on YouTube or on TikTok, something like that, and then I'll waste like 4 hours of my day that I could have been doing something that I've been talking about wanting to do forever. So just trying to, I don't know, just be conscious of what you do with your time. And then this one I thought was also fitting. You may delay, but time will not. No matter what we do, the clock's gonna keep ticking. That can be kind of anxiety inducing for a lot of people, and I understand why it honestly is for me sometimes. But it's just what you do at that time that matters. And that it's kind of different for everyone. So as long as you're doing something, that's good enough.
And sometimes, it might feel like you're wasting time because you're just relaxing, but really, it's just your body telling you that you worked yourself a little too hard. Let me take a 3-hour power nap and just wake up in the afternoon. And I guess this is the jar of life, which is where your rocks, pebbles, and gravel, which pretty much define what are the most important to least important things in your life. And if I'm getting this correctly, it is. The rocks have to be like the most important things, and these are the ones we have to prioritize first because they're the most important ones. And then the pebbles and gravel are kind of the fillers. They can be either things that you want to accomplish personally and you want to fit in your schedule, or it might be something new that you want to try out, but it's not as important, so you were withholding it and you were not doing it due to the fact that you were busy doing something else. Yeah, so.
I mean, and also everyone's rocks in their life are going to be different, so don't compare what you prioritize first compared to your peers.
Okay, let's hope I don't know the pronunciation for this. The Pomodoro technique is a simple method of balanced focus with deliberate breaks. So it's kind of repeating what we said before. It's kind of planning and setting a set timing in order to do things. But obviously, it does not mean that it's a strict schedule that, after that 1 hour time break that you gave yourself, to relax. If you need an hour and 30, you don't need to necessarily, I guess, stop what you're doing. And giving yourself breaks while you're accomplishing tasks or while you're in middle of doing something is also very important. Because I think due to a study, every 2 hours, the human brain kind of like stops gaining information anymore and stops focusing as much as it used to. So definitely, not even necessarily 5 minutes, but even a 30-minute break would be crucial for your mental health, practically.
Yeah, I find this is also a really helpful way to study as well. So setting small attainable goals for yourself. So say you want to start preparing for an exam. Maybe take 25 minutes a day just to start preparing, and then like towards the end when you're getting close to the exam, try something like this where you will study for 25 minutes and give yourself like a 5-minute like recoup and like a reward almost. And that kind of sets yourself up so you're not like cramming it so hard and then you kind of crash. This kind of lets your brain like restart so you can just kind of remember stuff a lot better.
And our last topic for today is organization. So this is more about the physical aspect of your environment and then also the way that you plan your schedule out. So this is a discussion question I have for you guys, which is how do you stay organized, especially in school, in work, and in your personal life? Do you guys have any specific things that you do?
Kind of for school life anyways. I have like a planner for just for school stuff. I don't combine it with my work and personal life. That way I just have one area for school. I used to use like my phone calendar for like my work and personal life, but I like to like separate it because I feel like it's all together. It starts to get a little confusing and overwhelming. So when I want to use school stuff, then I can just look at my planner for school stuff. That's one way I kind of stay organized myself.
Yeah, that's a really great idea. And refers back to the previous slide where you keep everything separate so you don't overwhelm yourself. So that's really awesome. Does anyone else do anything that they'd like to share? Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm like always on my phone, so I like plan out my day in my notes, and as I like do something, I like delete it, and I feel like that makes me feel better, just being able to like cross it off and like, oh, I've done that. Like once I see it get smaller, I feel better.
Oh yeah, that's definitely really satisfying, just being able to check everything off. You feel really good about yourself, which is good. And it definitely keeps you really motivated as everything gets checked off. Anything from these tables?
I mean, I pretty much have a routine, and then I put my routine on my schedule, so it's like works together, like, oh, I'm gonna go to class, then I have these breaks during class, I do my homework, then I go to work, and then I make sure when I get home, I could like just sort of sleep for a while, because I have like a routine combined with my work schedule and also, my like personal life.
Yeah, that's super smart. I wish I could do it like that too. And you had your hand up?
Yeah, I kind of do what she does, but it's kind of the opposite of like what you were saying, like separating everything. I like to keep like a wall planner and like a physical planner that I can take with me, but I like to combine like all of it because I feel like I'm the type of person that like won't look at one like every single day, and if I don't have them together, then I'll like make plans to do this, but then I have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like to keep it together because doing the opposite like gets me overwhelmed. Personally, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone's different with that kind of thing. So honestly, I relate a little bit more to what you do, because if you look at the Google Calendar on my phone, like it's terrifying. So like my plan is like strictly just for like homework assignments, and then like my Google Calendar is like everything I have to do, like eating at like 4 p.m. Like yeah.
It's good to schedule that.
Yeah.
Just so you don't forget.
Yeah.
But I do the same exact thing. I just have everything. So then, like you were saying, if you have a school meeting at 4:30, but then you want to hang out with your friends at 4:30, you might like double book yourself by accident. Yeah, I definitely get it.
Okay, so the cool thing about Google Calendar is that you can like, add separate calendars onto Google Calendar. So if like someone like you wants everything on one, or like how you want two separate calendars, you can still put on Google Calendar and then just turn one of them off. If you want to look specifically at school or specifically at personal life. I think that's like the coolest thing.
We like share them with each other too.
So this is really similar to what Emily Ann was saying before about tidying up your space. A clear and clutter-free environment is really crucial to get yourself motivated and just to have like a clear thinking space to get your work done. Like she said, when there's too much visual stimuli, it can get really overwhelming and you might feel unmotivated to do anything. Like if your room is super messy, you might just want to avoid your room at all costs so you don't have to think about the mess that's there. So it's really important to keep your space super clean. And I personally like to dedicate time to cleaning my space every day. So at the end of the night, once I'm done doing homework or whatever it may be, I just tidy it up, put everything where it goes, and then go to sleep, and then rinse and repeat, basically. And having a planner or a calendar, or even both, is super helpful. Like you said, you have both, and do you think that helps you a lot?
Yeah, I think that helps me a lot, keeps you focused, I feel like.
Yeah, that's great. So I do something similar as well, which is I make to-do lists for my daily tasks. And similar to what you were saying, crossing things out is really motivating and just helps you understand like what have I gotten done? What do I have left to do? Is it time to reward myself? I think it is. I also like to use the calendar to make notes of exams, events, or meetings, especially since exam season's like coming up or already passed. Orgo exams, physics exams, business exams, whatever it may be. It's just really good to have it all down in your Google Calendar or your planner or whatever method of planning that you use, just so you can look out for the exam or the meeting or the event. And some examples that we have for you are Google Calendar. Like Kayla was saying, you can have different calendars for your different parts of your day. So I do it for every single subject. I color code, like Orgo is green, physics is blue, my psych classes are purple, and that helps me keep track of all the classes and all the work that I have. And Google Keep and Notion are very similar. Notion is more creative, if that's something you guys like to do, where you can like input journals and agendas and to-do lists, shopping lists, everything you want into one software. And it just keeps everything in one place for you if that's something that you like. And Google Keep is similar to a to-do list, except that it's online, if that's something you guys like. And planning ahead, like Alexa said before, planning ahead is really the best thing that you can do for yourself. If you have an exam or a meeting or an event, preparing the day before can be really overwhelming, especially if you have other things that you have to worry about. You don't want to be grinding for your physics exam 11 p.m. or crying about your business final like the morning of.
Sometimes you need a little more.
But in general, it's good to prepare and stay on track. And it's also really important to break up large projects into smaller tasks. One big project can be super overwhelming, so breaking it up into little pieces, like for a research paper, spending 1 week researching your topic, then like drafting your essay, and making final edits, and then submitting it. Breaking it up into smaller tasks is super helpful. And setting goals is also really helpful just to keep yourself on track. And I didn't put it on the slide, but I think the most important thing is sticking to your schedule. Because if you don't stick to your schedule, then there's really no point of having a schedule. Because once you start slacking on the things that you have to do, it all piles up and then it gets overwhelming again. So this is an example of a Google Calendar. So similarly to what Caleb was saying, you can have different calendars for the different aspects of your day. So this person has the purple as personal, which is really, in my opinion, the most important part of this calendar. They take coffee breaks, lunch breaks, walk breaks, podcast breaks, and all the breaks, which is good for you. And then they also have calls and emails in green, and then project works in red. And you can customize it to however you would like if you are more virtual or a digital person. So we have an activity for you. We have paper schedules for you guys, and you can fill it out according to like what meetings you might have, events, exams for the week, and then also include your class schedules or hangout times that you have with your friends, anything like that. So we can start passing those out then. Right. So just have like a pencil or like marker with you.
We need that. Yeah. It's hard to roll it. Make sure you like, you go like personal.
I have one. Can we one more? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Here's one for you. Probably.
Yeah, I need to like keep both hands on this computer to like nice.
If you have different colored markers too, that'll help to like break it up into what sorts of tasks that you have.
I mean, I'm like, I was actually really bad. I haven't been using my actual planner.
You're too organized.
If I was, trust me, I would be drowning in all the crap I have. Although I really haven't. See, Canvas is too nice now. It like tells you what you have to do.
Yeah, I know.
See, my old planner.
It's up to you, it's your schedule, so.
The sad thing is, I actually don't know what happened.
Oh, that's
I don't keep a
so
list. Like, I have 4 midterms left.
Yeah.
I'm like a psycho. I'm thinking about it today all night. I'm like, oh my god.
No, I have my Google Calendar planned with minutes in advance, so I have my entire semester's.
See, that's
Yeah, it gets a little overwhelming.
It's not gonna get
Like on my computer,
Okay, so like last Friday was like a lot, but it was like, you can like mentally prepare yourself for like a real busy upcoming day.
That's a Monday, okay? So you have,
Like if I have like something come up like last minute.
And you know how I know you're organized? You have a bag specifically labeled.
21
out that says pencils.
21 different tasks, just in a Monday. I'm really putting it, like,
You're on point. You should be
This doesn't-
site homework.
Yeah, this doesn't include homework, this is just like meetings and stuff in class.
How did the, you work out?
Good, we're still working on, just finding, I'm horrible, I really, no, and I should have my brain is like.
I'm looking at your schedule, like, yes.
That's a jail out of free, get out of jail card.
I'm like, I'm asking you, but I literally.
You, already.
The presentation?
No.
Because I didn't do that yet.
For the e-board
And then
solution.
includes the.
Or?
Yeah, there we
Like
go.
that.
Okay.
I will send that to you right now. And even worse, are you aware? Are you that's fine, well, I can forget.
No.
No, I did send it to you.
Live?
Yeah.
I live like kind of close, I live like 15 minutes
I
away.
remember there was another girl.
If I was like at 9:30, I was like,
Oh my god.
Try to use the Google.
Oh, yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Boom.
So, never mind. What you doing?
I'm better than I thought I
you're on
was.
Taj for everything. Lately, DJ would say,
Like, prerequisites, sorry.
hold on.
I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Having a brain is the best prerequisite. And you prove that you have a brain, so you're good.
Well, not really. I couldn't read the word. What was that word?
I don't know,
The tomato timer
No,
thing?
see, I
Never read that.
am perfectly good at reading inside my head. I go to read out loud, so
I'd be
people
like
like freak
that
out.
class, like I'd be
Mine
out,
is,
and she would still be sleeping.
I'm trying to avoid, like, having the
I
accent.
live here.
So,
There's not a walk
it's,
across the street.
I don't know the word, but it ends up sounding like 6 syllables instead of a word.
Yeah.
I know.
Speaking, I already have a planner, so.
I don't even know if
My planner is beautifully empty.
We did that.
It was, see, my personal thing was.
I know.
This one's all filled out. This isn't everything, but it's like
This is like,
gist of what to do though.
I'm not an hour person, so I'm gonna be like, okay, I have social marketing, final, or yeah,
Like so horrified. No, I felt like a horrible person watching it, and I was so into
12 page essay,
I was worried side, and I was
to
like,
for
I
entrepreneurship.
never watched shows like this. Like, I really love it.
You don't want to
It's horrible when
An accounting homework.
Yeah.
I love it.
Just another-
How can they do that? I'm so mad.
Because the only thing you got going
Yeah,
on
I
is
love to stop.
yes, that's, oh, absolutely, that's a shame. Oh, it is. Oh my god, I go to bed at like 8, every day.
I would be the grumpiest person.
It's good. Terrified by it.
So I do an exercise because I make right wait.
So, like, I get all my time.
Yeah.
I was like, why would that work?
Or skills.
Like, at the end of every night, like,
Right, you get, no matter what.
I was so mad.
I have 7 classes. I give another interview today. I work at Amazon.
I was so mad. I didn't know that was
And
I don't
when
need-
I feel, when I feel sad, I go to the gym. So there you go. That's just homework, dude.
No, I feel like.
And then I said, oh, stop, you said I'm up here, like, I'm like,
I watch the YouTube, like,
Last time, I asked my friend,
Yeah.
think it was.
Oh, that was a good one. Saw that last one.
And now I'm excited for Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm so
I'm
excited.
looking forward to that.
I still haven't seen the other one. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
It was
And he took a lot of 6'5". I could. Everyone else.
So bad.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
We find our business partners.
Yeah.
I love that you're so
Yeah. She explains it. I see the whole thing. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Right, just.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you were hired?
All of my teachers, all of that stuff.
Right. It got dark so fast.
Like my friends know. I'm only available.
I was like, I don't have this. You read it as well.
That's not my one. She's I mean, like, I think just friends with people.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish.
So.
It's not here. Yeah, I also love that. That's the one thing I don't do that actually. Yeah. I'm on my.
I mean, it's.
Oh, I remember that. I know what you're saying.
Oh, cool.
Kind of fun.
How about you? I don't even know what costumes also.
Yes. That's like my ideal. Yeah, no, exactly. Because I'm so I'm working with it. It's like, it really is another. Because once you're done, like 6 to 8 more yeah, but like now, I've wanted to go to Ireland since I was like 9 years old. All of my friends are like, you're adult, so he's like, are you gonna come see us when we're all 9 and old? I was like, yeah, it's gonna be eventually.
She was so funny.
Oh no, Sam, I could not. I'm also like, for way more. So it's like, that definitely would not end well for you.
It's weird, isn't it?
I know,
It's weird because like.
I like you so much and then.
Yeah, I could never put that on. I think I would like, people were so like, yeah, because like, because I want to be I don't know if I want to be a surgeon.
Oh, nice. So help me out.
Yeah, literally though. It's like, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You don't see any of that money.
It's like never parking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Twenty-five.
4 years.
She like make a motion.
That's
so good. I'm not like that.
But then.
Honestly, live yes, I actually was good.
I was just gonna start doing
I need more colors. Oh, do you not have school on Monday?
I do, but
True.
And have a big class. And then,
So like I have
there's a
like
couple
these
hours, like,
students
you get, like, you can do that day.
Yeah.
I haven't gone there since freshman year.
Oh, speaking of that, my friend right now. Yeah. And we're giving out college events. I'm really excited. We're all just gonna.
I can be home.
The business. Free
Yeah. And, it's, I end up playing at least like 1 or 2
That's fine.
more than 1.5 hours.
Because we can do like little, like miniature little coloring games. And then we're also bringing like, you know, like the adult coloring books? They're like super.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like those are the ones that like really get you stressed.
Yeah.
You get them to start. It's just not like.
But like the one,
I think it's so I had my bike. Other stuff. It's like, oh, well, I don't.
That's what I've seen.
Yeah, you're like.
It's like the one with my it's like the whole entire it's like you're giving me like motion.
Too much stimulation, like,
Literally. Stay in your hole. I was in very.
Oh, yeah. What? What? 5 days ago? I was like, hello. Oh,
Nobody will make it.
science lecture hall. I swear I can see my breath. Like, it is freezing. And I swear our professor does it on purpose, because if we walk, it's like, shivering. So like I said, warm, like, I was like,
Yeah, I have so many, just like, they're all like,
they're all fine.
My class. 0.3.
but it doesn't do much, yeah.
Give yourself a break.
Oh, yeah, no,
Am I?
We hope you guys had a good time doing the activity, but we want the biggest takeaway to be, did you leave room in your schedule for self-care? Raise your hand if you did. And raise your hand if you kind of forgot. It's okay. But I hope, well, we all hope that this schedule activity helps you guys realize that even though you lead busy lives, it's really important to take the few minutes out of your day to take care of yourself, treat yourself to ice cream or a good TV show or anything you want.
And now is the time we're opening it for any questions, if you have any for us.
Sorry.
You have questions?
No, I just said it was fun.
And it was really nice meeting and talking to you. You guys. And so I hope you really got something out of these presentations. I know we definitely did, learning about it.
Well, thank you for listening to us.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for So today we talked about personal management, time management, organization. Next week, we've got a topic that I think will be near and dear to many of our hearts. Raise your hand if you are a person who sometimes feels shy or awkward in social or work or academic settings. Keep your hand up if you are a person who wishes that they could be more confident in at least some of their dealings in life. If your hand's up, you're going to want to come out next Tuesday or next Thursday for our workshops on building confidence. But for today, we're going to stick around for a couple of minutes just in case anybody has any questions or anything that they want to chat about. But if you don't, feel free to enjoy the final 3 minutes of the free period. Sometimes unscheduled time is a blessing as well. And thank you so much for coming out. Y'all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
I'll come back. Nice meeting you. Sorry, I can't talk.
DJ.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
I have some green tonight.
I'm so sorry.